Karen struck again, calling the cops when my family refused to join her HOA. This was supposed to be a routine intimidation tactic, a way to force compliance through authority and fear. What she did not anticipate was that my entire family is composed of federal prosecutors, trained, experienced, and fully aware of the legal limits of her power. Her audacity was about to meet its match. The morning began quietly. We were enjoying a late breakfast when the unmistakable sound of her minions attempting to rattle our gate and create a scene arrived. Karen herself appeared shortly after, brandishing paperwork, shouting about fines, rules, and immediate compliance. She assumed our household would be intimidated, pressured, and coerced, as it had with other residents who lacked both experience and authority. I calmly observed the scene from inside, noting every movement, every gesture, and every potential escalation. The moment she called law enforcement, thinking she could leverage them to force our compliance, I knew her plan was flawed. Federal experience in law enforcement interactions had prepared our family for precisely this type of manipulation. Every call, every interaction was carefully documented and handled with strategic precision. When the officers arrived, they were met not by panic or defenselessness, but by composed, authoritative figures who immediately established control of the situation. Each family member communicated clearly, referencing statutes, property rights, and procedural limits to the HOA's power. Karen attempted to argue, citing bylaws and fines, but her claims carried no legal weight against federal authority and documented property rights. As the conversation unfolded, it became evident that Karen had underestimated the environment she was entering. Her attempt to intimidate through the presence of law enforcement backfired spectacularly. Officers, now aware that this was not a simple HOA dispute but a potential overreach into illegal coercion, began to question her claims. Every threat she made was countered with calm authority, legal knowledge, and unassailable documentation. Karen's frustration became visible as the tide turned against her. The intimidation tactic she had relied upon crumbled under scrutiny. Her claims were recorded, her statements noted, and her attempts to manipulate law enforcement rendered completely ineffective. Our family, experienced in handling legal and procedural pressure, ensured that every step of her escalation was neutralized. Meanwhile, the community began to observe. Neighbors, previously intimidated by Karen's aggressive antics, now witnessed a reversal. Her attempts to coerce through authority and panic were not just ineffective, they were humiliating. Cedar Pines saw firsthand that audacity and aggression could be completely neutralized by preparation, knowledge, and composure. By mid-afternoon, Karen's threats had subsided. She left, muttering complaints and angry assertions, but her credibility was shattered. Her strategy, designed to intimidate and force compliance, had failed against a family trained to operate under high-stakes pressure and legal scrutiny. Evidence of her actions, calls, video recordings, and eyewitness statements ensured that any future attempt at intimidation would carry consequences. The incident reinforced a critical lesson. Entitlement, audacity, and aggression are powerless against preparedness, knowledge, and authority grounded in law and experience. Karen had misjudged our family completely. She assumed that fear and pressure would achieve compliance. Instead, she faced not only resistance but an overwhelming display of authority and procedural control. By evening, our household had returned to normal. The property was secure, the gates closed, and every security system fully operational. Karen's attempt at coercion had failed entirely, leaving her reputation diminished and her authority questioned. Cedar Pines continued to witness the unfolding saga, learning once again that audacity without preparation, aggression without accountability, and threats without consequences inevitably leads to failure. That night, as we reflected on the encounter, it became clear. Karen's attempt to leverage law enforcement was her undoing. She had assumed compliance would be easy, intimidation effective, and authority unquestioned. She had miscalculated completely. In Cedar Pines, as in life, preparation, experience, and calm decisiveness always prevail over reckless audacity. Karen had once again learned the hard way that threats meet consequence when faced with true authority.